Good morning. It's Wednesday, May 4th, and yesterday the biggest item in the news talked about the Supreme Court and the leak of a document that indicates that Roe versus Wade will be overturned. This leaked document, and it's the first time in my memory that I can ever remember that anything was leaked from the Supreme Court. That's about the most secretive place in this country. Anyhow, this document is a draft of the majority opinion written by Justice Samuel Alito, and it would strike down Roe versus Wade. Now, Alito is probably the most conservative justice on the Supreme Court, or maybe the second most conservative justice on the Supreme Court. But in any event, he wrote the majority of opinion. And according to this article that I read in Politico, the vote was 5-4, because Justice Roberts, who was a conservative, was not of the opinion that Roe versus Wade should be overturned. He was willing to make some adjustments, but he did not want the law taken off the books. Now, this draft was apparently written in early February, according to Politico, and so the final opinion has not been released, and votes and language can change in the interim, but this decision is supposed to come out in June. It will probably be one of the last decisions that the court issues for this year, because it's probably the most controversial, and it's probably the one that most Americans are in favor of. Close to 70% of the American people are in favor of this law remaining on the books. But that doesn't hold any water with the Supreme Court, because they are not beholden to anybody. They are an independent segment of our government, and they have no term limits either. So I will bet you that there will be lots of people yelling and screaming that there ought to be term limits because of this decision. And in Alito's draft, he says there's nothing in the Constitution that protects women's rights specifically. And who is to say that this abortion is a woman's right? There's a life at stake in their minds, in the minds of many who oppose abortion. Now, the case that brought Roe versus Wade to this particular spot in its lifespan is a case called Dobbs versus Jackson, and it concerns a challenge to Mississippi's 15-week ban on abortion. And that case was heard on December 1st. And in his draft opinion, Alito writes that Roe must be overruled. He says the Constitution makes no reference to abortion, and no such right is implicitly protected by any constitutional provision. I don't even know if when the Constitution was written back in 1789 or something like that, whether there was even any thought of aborting in this country. And if there were abortions created in this country, they were very quiet and very secret, because at that time we had Puritans, we had a nation of religious people who had run away from religious suppression in their native lands. So who knows what went through their heads about the physical rights of people. when the Constitution was written. So Alito can say whatever he wants, but that doesn't mean that those who wrote the Constitution even had an inkling of the kinds of things that will be happening 250 years later. And now he also says it's time to heed the Constitution and return the issue of abortion to the people's representatives. He's saying that when 60 to 70% of the people in this country are in favor of abortions. And why should we turn it over to the people's representative? Those people don't know what the hell they're doing right now. And he's claiming that the right should be turned over to the people's representatives. That is what the Constitution and the rule of law demand. That's what Alito writes. And we know that right now in this country, half the states, at least half the states, have or will pass laws that ban abortion. And those laws will be strict. And they don't care about incest, and they don't care about rape. They just want to prevent women from getting abortions. Now, of course, the states like California, New York, Connecticut, New Jersey will still have laws on their books that allow abortion. And those states will probably be overrun by people from other states coming to get abortion. So this looks like the end of Roe versus Wade. And Roe versus Wade was established in 1973. The constitutional right to abortion before fetal viability, which most experts say occurs in the 23rd to 24th week of pregnancy. And in 1992, in a Planned Parenthood case against a guy named Casey or a woman named Casey, a majority of the court in that case replaced Roe's framework with a new standard to determine the validity of laws restricting abortions. The court said that a regulation cannot place an undue burden on the right to abortion. So we've come a long way in 250 years, but it looks like we're taking a huge step backwards now. And this is just another signal to the people of America, the type of split nation they live in. When will true democracy return to this country? When? It's one of the great questions that we must think about now. So I leave you with that this morning. A terrible, terrible decision is about to take place in this country. So I guess we'll have to live through it and fight another day. Bye.